Good evening and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am DM Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, once again, another video for Blade Runner, the role playing game. This is going to focus on character creation. It's entitled Your Blade Runner. All right, and this is episode two. I didn't count the unboxing as episode one, so that was basically episode zero. Episode one was talking a little bit about the background of the game and and the lore and how you're supposed to put it into put yourself into the setting, and the theme of Blade Runner. And now we're going to talk about creating a character. So without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this, and I'm going to make actually a real quick comment first. So I'm utilizing the core rule book for this, not the starter set rules, because I want to do a more full in depth look at character creation. Number one, and I did find that I had to make a few adjustments here and there, and print out a different character sheet. So as you can see, I found the print friendly character sheet, which I mentioned in the last video as well. So I have that all set up and ready to go. Another thing that I thought of doing was, the question of dice came up, and there are specialty dice for this game, but you can also utilize just regular dice. And what I thought would be very helpful when I do run this game is I made a quick little chart, and unfortunately, I didn't have red ink, so I didn't put the X's in. But what I did was I created a chart, all right, which is basically the Blade Runner RPG roll success chart. And this way you can tell very quickly which die roll, if you're using regular dice now, is going to produce a success, a failure, and then for the larger denominations of dice, so for the 10 and the D10 and the D12, you can actually have double successes with those. So just made a real quick chart. I would print this out on a cardboard stock or very close to a cardboard stock, and then just cut them because you fit two charts on each sheet, and then hand that out to the players at the table so they have a really quick reference guide for when if they're rolling regular die instead of the specialty die. So just these little tweaks sometimes is all that a game system needs, just for you to be a little bit better organized when you are coming to the table to run something. So now, without further ado, let's get right to the PDF. So I'm going to go through this, and I am going to make one comment as I go through here, which is kind of a negative. I think that they could have done something better with the order here, and I will get to that as well. So we go through and we're going to talk about the core rules. And here's the step-by-step process, right? So you can choose or roll if you're a human or a replicant. You can choose or roll for your Blade Runner archetype. You can choose or roll for your years of the Force, determine your attributes, calculate your health and resolve ratings, choose your skills, choose or roll your starting specialties, choose or roll for your key memory, choose or roll for your relationships, get your standard issue gear, choose your roll of your signature item, choose or roll for your appearance, choose or roll for your name, roll for your home and describe yourself, and then get into the mean streets, right? So you're going to enter in. Now, all of this actually makes a lot of sense. However, they have you choosing your role for your archetype before they describe what the archetypes are. And that was something that I immediately picked up on as being a disconnect, right? So when I look here and I look at the various, archetypes, all these sounds great. And I was like, well, what is an analyst? What is a city speaker? What is an enforcer, a fixer, an inspector, and a skimmer? All right. And I was like, all right, that's, pretty interesting. Um, and now how do I know to do that? Where am I going to look? And it actually comes after you do all of the other things. And it's kind of out of order in giving you the descriptions. All right. So, but I'll get a little bit more focused on that. This is something that I thought was really cool, though. Secret replicant. So when you're rolling a d6, and on a 1, 2, and 3, you're a human. On a 4, 5, and 6, you're a replicant. So roughly 50-50 is going to be replicants if you were doing that as a random roll. Here, it allows the player to ask the game runner um, if the game runner would roll a secret d6, and on a roll of a 6 on that secret d6, the player character, unbeknownst to the player, is actually a replicant, and they're a secret replicant. And if you read through this, it really comes off, a really neat thing, because you can imagine the dynamic that this creates at the table when one player or multiple players who think that they're playing human characters will always wonder, well, maybe I'm not. Now, look, should your supposedly human character for any reason be revealed to be a replicant, your health score is immediately increased by 2 and your resolve reduced by 2, as you only now realize your full physical potential and true nature. From this point forward, the other rules for replicants also apply. See pushing rolls and on page 55 and so on. So anywhere on the table, honey, thank you. So you can do this, like I said, secretly, and then they wouldn't know. Years on the force, you could have them roll. If I were playing with a single player, then I would give them the option to do a random roll and then work from there. If I had a group, though, I would have the group being either, all rookies, or maybe like one or two be seasoned and then the other two be rookies, and they're kind of working together as two separate teams, because this game system actually, recommends sometimes that you split the party. And so that might be a pretty useful thing to do in that situation, where one person would be seasoned, the other character would be a rookie. They're paired off like that, and it'll make each separation a little bit more effective, or um, have a little bit more wherewithal in order to accomplish whatever challenges they're looking to do. Attributes. Your character has 4 base attributes that indicate your basic physical and mental capabilities, each rated on a scale of A to D. A represents the maximum human capacity, B is average, C is above average, I'm sorry. C is your average human being, and D is a weakened or diminished ability. Attribute ratings are marked on your character sheet. You have strength, agility, intelligence, and empathy. Dice. Your attributes are used when you roll dice to perform actions in the game. So there are several skills that fall under each category of attribute, and I'll talk about those as well. So as we have here, your attribute scores, an A uses the D12 as its base die, and it's extraordinary. A D uses a D6 as a base die, and it's feeble. And all characters start with a C. They start with average in all 4 categories. So your starting attributes, when you create your Blade Runner, you start with a baseline of C in all 4 attributes. You may then make a number of increases as indicated by your number of years on the force. An increase is always one step, like a C to a B or a B to an A. You can increase any attribute you want as much as you want up to A, but your archetype will indicate which attribute will likely be most useful to you. You can gain an extra increase by decreasing an attribute of your choice from C to D. For example, you could create an old timer with just one free increase with a starting attribute levels C, D, A, and C by decreasing agility to D and thus gaining an extra to increase and raise intelligence to A. Replicant characters get one additional attribute increase, which must be spent on strength or agility. So this is where it kind of clued me in. I was like, well, wait a second. Why didn't they tell me what the archetypes were first before we got to this point? Because then I'd already know what I was going to do. So the next part we're going to go to is skill level, starting skills. Sorry, I rolled right over it. So let me scroll back up. So health and resolve. So your attributes determine how much physical damage and mental stress you can withstand. This is measured by your health and resolve ratings. Read more about how those work in Chapter 4. Your health equals the sum of the dice size for your strength and agility divided by 4, rounding fractions up. Your resolve equals the sum of the dice size for your intelligence and empathy divided by 4, rounded up. All right, so you just do the very simple math. So, for example, strength B and agility C give you a health of 5, rounded up from a 4.5, while your intelligence B and D will give you a resolve of 4. Replicants are designed to withstand physical punishment that humans cannot. Therefore, replicant characters get a +2 bonus to their health rating. So that doesn't mean like just to their physical their physical strength first, but it means that you are going to apply the +2 bonus to that that averaging out. After you've averaged the 2 out, then you'll apply the +2 as well. Conversely, replicants are less mentally stable than humans, and thus they get a -2 to their resolve. Downtime. Even a Blade Runner can't roam the streets 24/7. Sometimes you need to rest and recover, especially after working a hard and trying case. This is handled using downtime, spending a shift resting at your home, hitting a club, getting drunk, or doing whatever. So there are downtime phases in the game that you actually keep track of. There's a time schedule tracking that the game runner utilizes. Skills. Your skills represent broad fields of expertise and determine, along with your attributes, how effective you can perform actions in the game. There are 13 core skills, and they are all described in detail in Chapter 3. Just like attributes, skill levels are measured on a scale from A to D, where the D represents no or little training, and an A represents the best in the field. As for attributes, each skill is connected to a specific die type. See the table on the next page. So your starting skill levels. When you create your character, you start with a baseline of D in all skills. You may then make a number of increases depending on the number of your years of force. On the force, these increases work just like the starting attributes, but you have more of them, and the skill for skills, more years on the force give you more increases instead of less. You can assign skill levels in any way you want, but your archetype will indicate which skills will likely be most useful, and you can increase your skill levels during this game. And here you have your skill levels. Specialties come later, so you don't actually start with specialties yet, especially if you're starting as a rookie. So specialties are tricks, moves, and minor abilities that give you a small edge. They are more specialized than skills and offer a way to fine tune your character. Specialties are further obtained on page 60. Starting specialties: when you create your Blade Runner, you get a number of specialties at the start of the game depending on how many years you have on the force. You can choose any specialties you like, but your archetype offers you suggestions that you can choose from or roll for. If you're a rookie, you start the game without any specialties. You can learn specialties during the course of the game. Okay, and your key memories. So you're going to you can roll your key memories, and these are just added, um, flavor items here. So your memories are an essential part of who you are, no matter if you are real or artificially engineered. Each player character in the Blade Runner RPG has a key memory of some defining event in the past, whether it's your own or someone else's, a complete fiction designed in a memory lab. Your key memory is a focal point of your personality, and it can be a powerful source of inspiration and perseverance. Once per game session, you can use your key memory in a skill roll to improve your chance to succeed. You need to explain how the memory helps you in that particular situation, but the game runner should be lenient. The game runner can also use your key memory to create events during play, as described in more detail in Chapter 9. Interacting with your skill memory, your key memory, I'm sorry, will gain you a humanity point at the end of the session. Designing your key memory. To design a key memory for your character, roll once on each of the memory tables on the following page. You are allowed to re-roll if you get a result that you don't feel fits your character, but we recommend that you first try to think about how the result might actually work. That can be created unexpected results and give interesting depth to your character. If you prefer, and the game runner allows it, you can design your key memory as you see fit. All right, so you could create your own as well. Evolving memories. Generally, you will not change your key memories, as it's a defining element of your character. However, if you find during play that your key memory no longer is relevant for any reason, you may replace it as long as the game runner allows it. Try to pick a new key memory from something that has happened to your character during play. And here we have the memory table, and you can, like I said, you could roll this, you can pick this, and you could start to develop your character going along and basing it on, these combinations. And if things are not meshing, you can re-roll or look to pick something else that goes into play. Sometimes it's a lot of fun to completely randomize a character and just roll with it. And you're going to choose from each of the tables, and then that will give you a pretty in-depth character. Your key relationships. So you now start to create your key relationships and see how this will further develop your character's his or her background, and um, you can have relationship changes that will alter the way that these things work as well. And these are also detailed in much more depth in Chapter 9, which I will eventually get to. So creating your relationships. To design the key relationship for your character, roll once on each of the relationship tables on the next page. You'll basically go through that whole process as well. Once again, you can randomize this or you can pick. You're going to roll once on each of the three, combine them up, and develop a story around it. Your gear, so you will pick out your starting gear. Um, you may have a signature item. Your Chinyan points are basically your starting money, and you get a number of Chinyan points at the start of the game, depending on your archetype and modified by your years on the force. This represents any savings that you might have managed to scrape together. More Chinyan, you can get more Chinyan points during the course of the game, as indicated by the case file, by selling things on the black market, or via specialties. You can also, once per case file, exchange one and only one promotion point for a Chinyan point, representing pushing for a pay raise. Your carrying gear, your standard issue gear. So if you're a Blade Runner, you're going to have a badge, a PKD blaster, or a 357 subcompact, knowledge integration assistant, which is your KIA communication device, a detective special spinner, and we'll go into much more detail over equipment when we get to that point. Finally, you're wrapping this up, right? So you're going to do your appearance, your name, your home. You can randomly roll, for your home, or you can select something. Um, Promotion points. So by doing your job as a Blade Runner, solving case, reporting and evidence, apprehending replicants, etc., you gain promotion points. Does that say DO? I'm sorry, DOS? Do's and don'ts, sorry. Do's and don'ts for gaining promotion points are discussed in detail on page 163 in chapter 7, and we will go over. There can be a number of things like gaining promotion points, distinctions, losing promotion points, disciplinary actions against you, using promotion points. So once you've finally tallied up all of your promotion points, then you can utilize them. And we'll go into more detail with that later as well. Humanity points, as mentioned before, you can gain these by successfully using your key memory, interacting with your key relationship, or failed a baseline test. That's for replicants only. And then how you use your humanity points, and they explain humanity points are a more limited use than promotion points, but they are very important. You can use them to increase your skills. To increase a skill, one step costs a number of humanity points as indicated on the table below. So to go from a D to a C costs 5. To go from a C to a B costs 10. To go from a B to an A costs 15 points. Replicant baseline tests: when a replicant hits 0 promotion points, or when the case file specifies it, they must make a baseline test to test their mental stability. This must be done immediately in the next shift at the LAPD. The baseline takes 1 shift to complete and does not count as downtime. Baseline tests are described in detail in Chapter 8, Tools of the Trade, and we will go into more detail with that when we get to that point. So now we finally get to the different archetypes. So you have analyst, and this is where they tell you, all right, so your key attribute, your key skills, your your Chinyan points, your favored gear, and then some specialty areas. And again, you can create other specialty areas or choose from other spots, but these are typically what an analyst would have. So a gearhead, an insider, a scientist, appearance, and then names. Obviously, most people are going to choose their own name or create their own name anyway. Um, we go to a city speaker next, and key attribute is empathy. Skills are mobility, connections, insight. D8, Chinyan points. Favorite gear is Soviet happy. I don't know what that is, but we'll take a look at it later. Um, Gutter rats, hardened, origami. All right, so this is Edward James Olmos's character in in the movie, in the original movie, and appearance, and then names, so various names. Doxies. So doxies are only replicants. That's one thing to remember. And they are agility, close combat, mobility, manipulation, D8. Um, Favored gear is a 357 subcompact. Fast reflexes, interrogators, merciful, appearances, and then names. I would probably, if I'm going to roll my first character, I would go with a with an investigator. But we'll take a look at enforcer really quick. Strength, close combat, stamina, firearms, D6 for Chinyan points. An Ender assault rifle is a favored gear. Fast reflexes, killer and tough. Various names, appearances. A fixer is a career politician. Empathy, connections, manipulation, insight. D10, premium clothes. Specialties of cash flow, insider, and protected, and so on. Inspector, agility, firearms, observation, connections. D6, a PKD, uh, PKD 18, what was that? 18 M1887 20 gauge. Oh, that's a, it's still a pistol, but it sounds like it's a pistol that shoots like a 20 gauge shotgun shell. Hardened, married to the job, and smokes are specialties. Interesting. I wonder what smokes actually produces there. A skimmer is empathy, firearms, connection, manipulation. D12, so they make good money. Rare cigars, cash flow, kickbacks, a sycophant. Let's see. A skimmer is everybody but you knows that you're more kipple than cop. Oh, they're kind of like an inside kind of job kind of guy, like a dirty cop making money on the side. Specialties and so skills and specialties, and this is getting into chapter 3. So what I'm going to do here is, like I said, you really don't know what you really don't know what you're going to do as far as your skills and everything if you don't already know your archetype. So what I would do in this case is, if I'm going to create a if I'm going to create an investigator, this is what I would do. I would let me just shift this over here, and let's see if I can get you a just a much wider look here at the thing here. So in my book, I'm actually going to turn to where they have the attributes of the investigator, or the inspector, I should say. So an inspector is the key is agility. So I just want to know what that is. So I'm just going to put a little star next to agility. That way I know that that's his key attribute. Then I'm going to look at his skills. I'm going to do the same thing, right? Firearms, observation, and connections. Now, it doesn't mean that I can't put skill points in other places, but I can't make other skills higher than these skills. All right, and unless these skills are at a minimum of a C. All right, so I can't have like an A in close combat if my firearms, my observation, or my connections are not at least a C. All right, so that's how this is going to work here. So you're going to start off with those points as they relate. So I'm going to go back now to the beginning because now I know my archetype. Now I know what I want to actually start creating. And I'm going to look at the years on the force. Now I'm going to create a rookie here. And so the rookie is from 0 to 1 years. They get a +4 to attributes. And remember, all of the attributes are going to begin with a C. So I'm going to put a C in strength, agility, intelligence. All right, so I have my, um, oh, there's empathy. So there I have my C's. They're all in place now. Now I get +4 to those attributes. Now remember, agility is my primary, right? So I want to make sure that I at least put one of those in here. Now I can make the super well-rounded character and say, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to I'm just going to put across the board because he's a rookie and put a B in everything. All right, that might be a smart move to start off with if you're really, but if you want your character to have a little bit more flavor to it, then you might decide, well, I'm going to keep one of them lower and then boost those other three, and then once again put an additional into agility. So just imagine if my agility now is I'm going to put 2 points into agility and I'm going to make agility an A. All right. And then I only have 2 more points left to move around. I'm going to make his strength a B, and his intelligence a B. All right. So now I have a B, an A, a B, and a C. So his empathy, even though he has connections, I decided that that's still going to be one of his weak points. So I'm going to go with that. Next, I'm going to take a look and see. So his years in service is from 0 to 1. And I'm going to go to the next thing to check is his starting attributes. I got that taken care of. His health and resolve. So his health equals the sum of his strength and agility. So his strength is a B. And just for quick reference, you can just set up your dice here so that you know this is so his strength is a B. So that's a D10. And his agility is an A. So a 10 and a 12 is a 22. And so his health is going to be an 11. So maximum health, I'm going to write an 11 in there. Next, we're going to go and take a look at his resolve. His resolve is the sum of his intelligence and his empathy divided by 4. I forgot to do the divided by 4. So 22 divided by 4 would be actually a 5. Okay. Next, we go with your resolve equals the sum of your dice between your intelligence and empathy divided by 4. All right, so that would be His intelligence is a B, so that is a 10, and his empathy is a 6, so 16 divided by 4. So his um, his resolve would be a 4. All right. His skills. So as a rookie, I'm going to gain +8 to skills. So I can put now all skills start at D. So I'm just going to put these down here again, but I am going to I will modify them afterwards. This driving is up here. Should have done this layout of the page a little bit differently and just added to intelligence there, give it an extra line for intelligence, kind of shift everything up a little bit. So now I have 8 points to spend. So I'm going to go to my main ones here, and I'm going to put 2 points into firearms. So I'm going to bring it from a B, from a D to a B. I am going to put 2 points into observation, make that a B. So I've used 4 of my points already. My connections, I'm going to put 2 points into my connections here, and I'm going to make that a B. So now I've used 6 points already, and now I can take a look and see where can I put my other 2 points. And I'm going to look at close combat, force, stamina. I probably want to put something into stamina. Um, Insight might be a nice thing to boost up as well. So I am going to go with stamina of a C, and I am going to go with his main is mobility. I'm going to go with a C in mobility, since agility is his primary attribute there. Okay, so next we're going to go to, he doesn't have a specialty yet. I can create the memory table and do all of that. So I'm not going to focus on that at this time. Um, I am going to go to his his archetype again, and I'm just going to jot down as notes. Not that he has these specialties yet, but I might want to just be able to jot them down so that I know what the choices potentially are. Now he's only going to start with one specialty first, so I'm going to start, even though he doesn't have it yet. But this is just a premonition that he's going to go with hardened. Again, filling out all the rest with the with the favorite items and the gear and all of that setup. that's all extra stuff that you don't necessarily need right now. You have the very basic framework of your characters' attributes, their skill levels, their health, and their resolve. And that's the core mechanics of the game. The other thing that I have to roll, which I haven't yet, is for his starting years on the force. He has promotion points, so he gets D3 promotion points. So I'm going to roll a 6 here. So he has 2 promotion points. So I'm just going to put 2 checks in there. And then he has -1 to his Chinyan points. And so as a investigator, they didn't start with a great number of them. So let's go to investigator very quickly. And as an investigator, he is going to start with just a d6 minus 1. So he only has one Chinyan point. So he is pretty cash poor. So Chinyan point. He will earn humanity points during that first adventure and everything. So pretty much here we have very bare bones, um, not filling in all of the personality traits and his home and his apparel and appearance and all of that. I basically have a an inspector. He I will go with human. He is a human inspector. And years on the force 0 to 1. Strength is a B. So the base die for that strength is going to be a 10. These are going to be sixes. This is going to be an 8. This is going to be a 12. This is going to be a 10, an 8, a 6. His intelligence was a B again, so that's a 10. 6. A B is a 10. 6. A D is a 6. He's not a very good driver. He has an 8 in empathy. He has a 10 in connections. A 6 and a 6. So really, really quickly, if I were to be using a strength check, let's say I'm doing close combat, I am going to roll a d10 and a d6, one for my attribute and one for my skill level, right? So when I roll this, I'm looking for at least one success. So if I roll this, I rolled a 2 and a 5. There's no success there. All right, totally failed. All right, let's do now let's say I'm going to do an agility check. And within agility, I'm doing firearms. So now I'm rolling a d10 and a d12. So now I roll these, and I got a double success and one fail. So it still is a success. All right. So I was successful in that. You can see how having the higher die is going to give you more opportunities for success, and fewer opportunities actually for failure. Failure is always on a 1 on any of the die. But on a d12, you actually have from 6 through 12 is a success, and a 10, 11, and 12 are double successes. So you kind of stack up your successes, and you could easily get 4 successes if you're rolling a d10 or 2 d12s. You can get 4 successes. You only need one, which is going to give you 3 additional benefits on top of like such a wide range of a. So I'll go much more into detail in game mechanics later as well. So as you can see, I mean, it doesn't take that long to create the bare bones framework of a character, and then the rest of the time you can just pick and choose. And this is probably totally a less than 20 minutes. You'll probably spend more time thinking about the kind of character that you want to play than you are actually rolling one up. So it's a very, very simple system to put together a character. It is it's there's not that many skills that you have to really, think about and deal with. They're all right there on the sheet. You saw how quickly I was able to kind of look at different things and then just start to develop a character concept just based on their attributes and their skills, keeping in mind what the archetype is so that I knew, whether it's supposed to be really good at, or more skilled at. And like I said, with a few minor tweaks, um, as far as the putting things in the better order, the only thing I really can say about this that could have been done better is if they put um, the descriptions of the archetypes in before you actually did your skills, so that you could do that little thing that I just did, where I just marked off, well, what's his primary skill, what's his primary attribute, I should say, and what's his other skills, and go along with that. I mean, there might have been another component that I might have like glossed over or skipped over. Um, I think that they do get some increased attribute points based on either human or I know they get them for being a replicant. Let me just go and double check on that. Humans, I believe, get one additional bonus, and replicants get another. I might even read it too. I just skipped over it. I'm just doing this very, very quickly. Starting attributes. Let me see. Replicant characters get one additional attribute increase that they must spend in strength and agility. Oh, so humans don't get any additional things. A replicant that knows that it's a replicant is going to get an increase in either strength or agility. So that would, if this was a replicant, then I would probably have because my agility is already an A, I would have brought that strength up to an A. So both be both an A and an A in both of those. That would be a pretty tough character to deal with. So once again, I hope you like this video. I will, certainly taking any questions or comments, and dig back into this again as a follow-up. So if you have any comment directly about rolling up characters, then just leave a comment section in there. I will read your comment and then respond to it directly from the book. So if you need any clarification, again, very, very simple process of creating a character here. And I will finish fleshing this out so that when we do go to, when I do start covering chapter 3, where they're talking about fleshing out some of these other things, I will have this character filled out with the key memories, the key relationships, the home, the appearance, and all of the rest of that extra flavor for the character, and have a name and talk about this character now in the next step. So I will take this character and carry this character through the rest of the chapters as we continue to flesh out this particular character, so that you get a full, from very start, bare bones to a finalized character ready to roll. So once again, thanks for joining. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you have any questions or comments, put those in there. If you hadn't subscribed, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen sometime soon. You have a great evening.